Welcome to Shenzhen Metro, but more importantly, welcome to the future.
China just built a project so massive it flips the word station on its head.
This railway station is larger than every single airport terminal in the US.
Engineers in Chongqing have built a railway hub that is the size of a small city. This hub alone is now moving millions of people, speeding up the already fast Chinese railway system.
I'm speechless. This is a subway station. This is not an airport. This is just a subway station here in China. Holy smokes.
And how the engineers achieved this feat is just as insane. A city falling behind. Chongqing is China's strangest city. You won't find any other like it in the world, and that uniqueness comes from its terrain. The entire city is built on mountains, gorges, hills, and river basins, and that presents a problem when it comes to building a city. How do you create an urban center on a terrain where flat land is non-existent? The way China has tackled this problem is mind-boggling. Their solution was verticality. There are multiple levels to Chongqing's layout, with buildings extending both upwards and downwards from each one of these levels. The ground floor could be the 5th, 10th, or 20th floor, depending on which level of the city you are at. Height changes are a standout feature. Some portions of the skyline stand hundreds of feet higher than the rest, built on hills, while the rest are sunk far below, sitting in valleys. And this topography is what makes this place such a marvel. But while Chongqing's topography is unique at the same time, it presents a challenge for transit. The transportation infrastructure within the city is extremely complicated. The height difference makes it impossible to build a track that can stay on the same level without running into hills and mountains. So much so that you will find some trains that go through the upper floors of skyscrapers during their journey. The tough terrain makes high-speed transit nearly impossible, and that is mostly acceptable, at least for short routes. But what about the traffic coming from outside? The mountainous terrain made it impossible to build high-speed railway lines connecting Chongqing with other major cities and ports. Railway tracks had to snake through mountains and go over bridges built over gorges wider than a stadium. All of that limits how fast a train can run on these tracks, and that is a major issue for a country where speed is literally money. In China, much like the rest of the world, transit speed is an important element for economic growth. Without high-speed transit, goods couldn't be transported quickly through Chongqing. Students couldn't attend better universities in distant cities. Fresh produce couldn't be imported or exported. People couldn't find better jobs in other cities. And these limitations held back Chongqing. The city was on the verge of falling behind coastal cities, where the economy and, in turn, progress was booming. Adding to that was the fact that Chongqing lies at a critical junction for transit across China. It connects several ports to the inland, while also facilitating travel throughout the region. And if this junction is slow, it affects the whole country. If faced with a similar situation, countries like America, Europe, and other superpowers would have spent years coming up with a solution. But China is famous for not waiting around for bills to pass. Their Just Build policy has done marvels in the past, and it did so again with Chongqing. The Chinese officials were quick to come up with an ambitious plan that would not only speed up transit in and out of Chongqing, but also make this mountain city one of the central hubs for transportation across China. And the scale of the solution they came up with is something countries like America could only dream of. The plan proposed to fix the slow railway problem in the Chongqing region was ambitious to say the least. The experts proposed the world's largest railway station, operating trains that would travel at a speed of over 200 miles per hour. The station would connect all the districts and counties of Chongqing turning the once fragmented region into one single organism, with high-speed rails acting as the veins connecting everything together. The proposed structure would be so large that it was equated to a small city by many. The world was skeptical. How could China build such a thing in one of the toughest terrains on Earth? But if anyone could pull it off, it would be China, a country known for its ambition and mastery over constructing mega projects. But before anything could begin, the engineers had to tackle the biggest problem of the project. How do you build in the Chongqing terrain? The proposed station was going to be 1.22 million square meters in area. Where do you find enough flat ground to build this behemoth in a mountain-dense area? Well, in the absence of such a place, Chinese engineers decided to build their own. Once a site was chosen, 10 million cubic meters of earth were moved using bulldozers and dump trucks working day and night. Where there used to be hills, a solid flat foundation began emerging. Slowly but surely, the area was cleared, creating the perfect place for the new railway station. And then, the work began in earnest. The work on the Chongqing East Railway Station began in 2022, and over the next 3 years, the structure began to take shape at an incredible speed. Working on the site weren't just humans, but also machinery operating in a capacity unheard of on such a large-scale project. Instead of relying solely on human labor, China decided to speed things up using robotic construction technology. The mega project employed these AI-driven robots in every capacity possible. First came the processes of leveling the freshly dug-out ground. Laser-guided bulldozers and robots worked non-stop to create a surface so smooth it was even down to the millimeter level. That's something impossible to do for human workers. But it wasn't just the accuracy. The speed was insane too. These robots finished the ground leveling 3 times faster than humans. Through day, night, rain, and hail, these things worked tirelessly. Where human workers would have collapsed from the 40-degree temperature during the Chongqing summers, these technological marvels just kept on working. Once the ground was leveled, the concrete was poured to create the foundation. The task of leveling this concrete was left to the same robots once again. As the walls rose above the foundation, glass installation robots got to work carrying facades weighing nearly a ton. These robots scaled the walls and installed the facades with millimeter-accurate precision, all the while reducing the risk of accidents. And when it came to welding tasks, robots came in handy once again. They handled the overhead pipe installation tasks at 3 times the speed humans would have required. Everything was being sped up by the new mechanical workers. But that wasn't all that the robots did. Patrol modules were also used extensively during the construction of Chongqing East Railway Station. These sentinels patrolled the site, identifying workers who were not wearing hard hats, misplaced vehicles, and other safety violations. And this alone saved several lives. Safety incidents during the Chongqing East Railway Station's construction were 90% lower thanks to these patrols. And powering all that was AI. AI not only managed the machines, but it also helped plan out the work shifts, balanced supply chains, created ideal paving for the workers, and helped optimize the design of the overall structure. Technology was involved in every aspect of Chongqing East Railway Station's construction. Advanced sensors helped manage the curing temperature to prevent cracks. Algorithms helped visualize the construction process on site with the help of augmented reality, and temperature sensors kept track of overheating that could affect the human workers. Not only that, but China used every trick up its sleeve to meet its tight deadlines for the Chongqing East Railway Station project. And chief among these was the modular construction method appearing all across China. The components of the station weren't all built on site. Parts of the pillars, the roof, and nearly everything else were constructed in factories located off-site. These smaller components were then brought to the site using trains, where they were put together. And this helped speed things up at an astounding rate. The project that should have rightfully taken 5 to 10 years to be accomplished was finished in just 38 months. The station had been finished in the time it would have taken for a construction plan to be approved in the United States. In China, no bureaucracy is slowing things down. Rather, progress is being made thanks to the most cutting-edge technology. But this fast-paced approach in no way means that what China built is less impressive. China hasn't just mastered speed, but it also excels in building magnificently. And the same is the case for the Chongqing East Railway Station. After all, its gorgeous design is equally as impressive as its scale and construction process. A mesmerizing design. The Chongqing East Railway Station is often compared to a city, and that is because of its large size spanning 1.22 million square meters. That's roughly equivalent to 170 football fields. It is designed to handle a large amount of traffic. At its max, this place can handle 16,000 people traveling through it. Not in a day. That's 16,000 people per hour coming in and out of the station using its facilities. That's over 38,000 people passing through a day. And what makes that possible is fascinating. The overall theme of the Chongqing East Railway Station is quite modern. Its modernist look, tall towers, and gigantic roof are a sight to behold. But one thing that is easy to overlook is the spacious nature of the station. Now it is natural that a train station, especially one as large as this one, would be made to maximize space. But that isn't the only aim the architects had in mind. They placed great emphasis on creating a barrier-free design. The whole station has been designed to allow the travelers to walk through easily, like water flowing with minimal resistance. The giant hall leads to the platforms for easy boarding. Elevators connect each floor. Everything inside has been designed for flow, to ensure access and easy management of the 16,000 per hour strong traffic. Now the Chongqing East Railway Station hasn't been designed to be at odds with nature. Rather, just like Chongqing City, this station too has links with nature. A lot of the aspects of the structure bear resemblance to natural elements found in the region. Take the gigantic pillars, for example, that support the roof. These pillars are made to be slim at the bottom, but near the top, they branch out, creating a much larger surface area. That design isn't just for supporting the heavy roof, rather it draws inspiration from the huanga trees. Known for their resilience, these trees are found in the region and act as shelters for several species. The pillars of the Chongqing East Railway Station follow that symbology, holding up the roof that provides shelter to the entire station. Between the branches of the pillars are light wells that draw in the sunlight from outside to inside the station, keeping it naturally lit. The inspiration from nature doesn't stop there. The station has a viewing platform on the eastern end that has been designed to provide a beautiful view of the sunset. And it is a sight to behold. The roof itself is also based on a natural phenomenon. The architects drew inspiration from the Yangtze River, where the waves create beautiful patterns that scatter sunlight. And on the roof of the Chongqing East Railway Station, you will find skylights shaped like shimmering water, letting in sunlight from above and scattering it in a similar manner as water does. But that isn't the only marvel about this roof. Another interesting aspect is its size. Spanning 120,000 square meters and weighing 16,500 tons, it's impossible to think something this gigantic is being held up by these pillars. The sections of the roof were put together using modular construction technology. And then each section was lifted up using robotic cranes and installed in place. Section by section, like the hull of a ship, the entire roof was brought up. And today it is the station's most standout feature, a feat that astounds architects from around the world. But to be fair, that is only one of the marvels of the Chongqing East Railway Station. After all, it isn't called a city station for no reason. One aspect of that name comes from the size of the station, that's true. But another comes from the fact that it houses restaurants, fast food chains, and shopping centers within its walls. But more still, this name starts to sound even truer once you realize that the Chongqing East Railway Station is only a part of a whole. the heart of a city. The East Station Hub New City is a 3.5-kilometer district that is going to be built around the Chongqing East Railway Station. The station lies at the center of the proposed city, and from this point, all the life of the city will flow. The new city has been integrated into the station, with the exits and entrances of the station opening up into the main plazas and squares for easy access. Surrounding the station itself will be hotels, shopping centers, and food streets, all to accommodate the passengers arriving at the central station. The city will be as much for the Chongqing East Railway Station as it will be for the city. Public transport, like buses, cabs, and trams, will have stops at the station to allow for a simpler and more efficient travel system. And what China is trying to create with this approach is a zero-transfer city, the kind of place where you can exit your home in a cab, arrive at the station, and go anywhere across China from there. It is an attempt by the nation to bring its cities even closer together. And this approach isn't just for the people living here or the tourists traveling the lines, it is also aimed at improving business growth. Already, logistic companies have built their offices close to the newly opened station to take full advantage of the central position Chongqing holds in China. Offices are also opening up as the presence of high-speed rails opens up a larger pool of talent. The connectivity with the rest of China that the Chongqing East Railway Station provides is irresistible for businesses. With 15 platforms and 29 tracks across 3 railroad yards, it is a superstation where traffic from across China converges. 7 national high-speed railway lines come together at this point, bringing in traffic from cities all across China like Beijing, Shanghai, and Wuhan. Trains running on these lines achieve extreme speeds of up to 217 miles per hour. And that cuts down travel time to major urban centers by a lot. For instance, while in the past it took 6 hours to get to Zhengjiajie by train, with the new high-speed rail, it will only take 2 hours. Similarly, the travel times to other urban centers have also been cut down. It will only take 1 hour to travel to Chengdu and Guiyang, 3 hours for Xi'an, Wuhan, Changsha, and Kunming, and 6 hours to megacities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen. For the inhabitants of Chongqing, this is a godsend. Students can go to better universities for education without having to spend hours in transit every day. Employees can travel to their jobs in other cities without losing daylight. And farmers in the region can get their produce to bigger markets fresh and ready to use. With this one station, China has improved the lives of Chongqing inhabitants, as well as fixed a major bottleneck in its national transit system. At the same time, it has opened another door, an opportunity to boost one of China's fastest-growing industries. An aid to tourism. Tourism is one of China's largest moneymakers. In 2025, they are expected to make $42 billion from tourism, and Chongqing East Railway Station is going to be a major help to achieve that. Not only is the surrounding city with its hotels, restaurants, and cultural food places expected to generate revenue, but the real money lies in the train station itself. It is a tourist spot in itself. People from around the world are expected to come and see the largest railway station in the world. And that's where the central location of the Chongqing East Railway Station and its high-speed rails further facilitate tourism. You see, Chongqing City is now connected to some of the major tourist destinations in China thanks to the Chongqing East Railway Station. Chengdu, famous for its giant pandas, the terracotta warriors of Xi'an, and the Avatar Mountains in Zhangjiajie, are all just a couple of hours away via the high-speed rail. This station alone will help create the perfect route for tourists to experience China, an essential stop for exploring the country in its entirety. And the station's infrastructure has been made with tourists in mind. The engineers have incorporated a digital wayfinding system to help foreigners navigate the station, who may be unfamiliar with it, and all the announcements are made in multiple languages. Additionally, the station has all the digital essentials a tourist would need. Wi-Fi is made readily available throughout the premises. 1,000 of the 5,000 chairs in the station have USB charging stations. Like an airport, the Chinese government has made the Chongqing East Railway Station a central hub through which tourism can thrive. And well, it is working. Let's take a look at some of the statistics. The Zhengzhou-Chongqing high-speed railway, which stems from this station, has seen an increase in passenger flow since its construction. The route usually had just 770,000 passengers traveling on it every month. Now that number is up to 1.07 million passengers a month. And with that growth in travelers, the revenue also grows, especially with tourists. The surge in tourism seen by Fengjie County increased by 20%. The Three Gorges Reservoir region has seen an increase in business opening up to facilitate tourism, producing 10 billion yuan in revenue in just a year. That's 1,404 million in freedom money. Building the Chongqing East Railway Station has certainly been worth it for China. But to be honest, this is just the beginning, because the station is set to see some major developments that are already ongoing. First is the East Station Hub New City, which is still under construction. And second is the completion of all the railway lines. You see, the Chongqing East Railway Station has boosted the economy so much, but in reality, the railway lines extending from it are still not finished. Lines 8, 24, and 27 are still under construction. And then there are the star-shaped high-speed rail routes being constructed that are set to improve the east-west and north-south flows of transit and cargo trains across the country. So this revenue from businesses, tourism, and faster transit is only going to increase in the future. But the Chongqing East Railway Station isn't just a matter of making money. It is also a pioneering idea that is revolutionary in its design. The design principle behind the Chongqing East Railway Station is simple. It blends together metro, bus, and taxi travel, creating a no-transfer system. And other countries are picking up on it. They also want to develop a city structure that reduces or eliminates the need for personal cars. Indonesia, Thailand, and African countries are copying that style of city building, making the railway station the central piece of urban centers, integrating metro transit, bus travel, and cabs into one flowing organism that works together seamlessly. This idea certainly seems to be a good one, but like everything in this world, it has its critics. Green or not? China's construction spree is in full swing, and critics have raised the environmental question over and over again. Are these projects having a negative impact on the environment due to higher energy usage? That question was raised once again for the Chongqing East Railway Station. And well, it couldn't be farther from the truth. For such a large-scale building, the Chongqing East Railway Station is surprisingly eco-friendly. Solar panels across the station's roof help provide green electricity, which feeds into the city's grid. The presence of skylights means that during the day, artificial lighting requirements are minimal, and rainwater is collected from the roof to be used for irrigating the parks close by. Cooling plants are shared with the surrounding buildings as well for more efficient usage. The Chongqing East Railway Station meets China's 3-star green building standard, which is the highest in the country. That means it is super eco-friendly. Others have also criticized China's building practices, claiming that the construction spree the country is pushing forward is racking up debt. But as the stats show, China is actually experiencing a massive GDP boost with its investment in railway infrastructure. For every investment of 100 million yuan that China makes into railway infrastructure, it gets a return of 260 million yuan in GDP and creates 60,000 jobs. That's certainly worth it. Instead of criticizing, the world could learn from China. While superpowers like the United States, European nations, and other Western countries take years just to approve a construction project, China builds the project in less time than that. Instead of locking progress behind the red line of bureaucracy, the rest of the world could follow China's example and simply build. Do you think that would be a good policy for your country? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts.